Unshackled from shadows. She will rise in moonlit glory and carve a path of brightness to the accursed one's second death. So saith the wise Alondo. That beacon of angelic wrath has taken the fight to Ketheric on the rooftop. And the first line of defense are dead. But storming the tower won't be easy, and if we wait too long, Ketheric will gather his strength and retaliate. For now, though, he's on the back foot for the first time since he returned from the grave. This is it. The spearhead moment. You brought us this far. So how shall we proceed? A sound strategy. Once it's done, me and my Harpers will hold the ground floor while you hunt down the General himself. Floric left some of her flaming fist. They'll scout the prisons and the barracks below to ensure we're not taken by surprise. Say the word, and we're off. I'm touched, but I'm already spoken for. Very well. Side by side we'll stand, as we'll rip true souls from a false god. As good a prophecy as any. At the ready, Harpers! In this light, there will be victory. In this light, we will avenge the fallen! The time has come. Ketheric will taste of death at last.
You. What have you done? What have you done to me? There is no redemption, can't you see? It is too late. If Melodia could see all I've done, she'd know. She'd know her husband died long ago with Isabel. Unlike Isabel, he could not be brought back. I haven't forgotten her embrace. Melodia's. Nor Seluna's. But the Moon Maiden did not intervene when my life was dismantled piece by piece. And when I tried to buy it back, it cost me everything. Everything. We are copper pieces in their belts. Tokens to be traded for scraps. You have beaten me, true soul. But the gods beat me first.
Rise, you dog! Retribution has come, and her sword is my sword. Ketheric Thorn would sooner die than lay down his rank cause. Isn't that right, General?
I was a fool to hesitate. Power like mine cannot be hidden, cannot be cowed. But power like mine has a price. A price I am destined to pay. You have one last chance to bow. Once it's gone, I'll have no choice but to destroy you both. Do you hear? Bow! risen. You've had it all this time, you worm. You will bow before me. And if you will not bow, you will break.
He will crumble at the power of your touch. Give him all you have. The gods fight at our side!
Enough. My lord beckons me. You must return to your prison, and my daughter must be reclaimed.
Your daughter? Isabel.
Sure as she. This has only begun.
The General will call that a tactical retreat, I'm sure. But you have him on the run. That thing he summoned was illithid. Follow it below and find him, before he has a chance to subdue the Night Song again. Better they stay here, and hold the tower should Ketheric's army catch wind of our assault. But if you have room for one lone soldier, I would face Ketheric by your side.
The hole yawns back at you, impossibly wide. A single tentacle burrowed through stone.
Looks like a long way down. Shall I go first?
This must be where they harvest the tadpoles. We're close to the source of the infections.
By Grazit's cock, it's about time you came! Thought you'd have figured it out by now. Now, enough sniffing around and get me out of this thing.
Do it, and I'll let Will off his leash. A devil always keeps her promises.
Your eyes turn to the control panel next to the pod. It has two devices marked with illithid symbols. The controls are open to your tadpole's command, to your authority. The symbol's meaning comes into focus. Annihilate. You recognize the marking from the Nautiloid, an illithid symbol meaning unleash.
Good work. I'd give you a gold star, but I'm fresh out. As for the pact... Clause Z, Section 13. If the Soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the Soul Bearer from all obligation within 6 months.
6 months until he's free? You little rat.
Ignorant thing. It's always the terms and conditions that get you. Not going to happen, but I do like your spunk. Right. I'm out of here. I need a long bath. I'll leave you to your very serious business. But don't you fret. If you survive this place, I'll find you. The pup will be needing me. Count on it. Oh, and ask Will how we met. I've loosened his tongue.
It's real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta.
No longer a background murmur. The presence in your mind builds to a roar.
We've found it. The Absolute is behind this door.
You said it was under control.
It isn't you I answer to, Gortash.
Motherfucker! Gortash!
Oh, the general voice. Is this where we salute?
Salute, yes. With cleavers through his blood-starved flesh. How it crawls with failure. Like flies on lick-wet carrion.
You forget yourself, Orin. I have played my part.
You've built an army for our masters, true enough, but what of the astral prison? A rogue true soul flaunting it under your nose all this time, and you ran from him.
Sure that they would follow and deliver it into my hands here. If you would cease these distractions.
The distractions have been yours, Ketherick. Perhaps we never should have dug your daughter up. So you haven't lost your edge, but you're still not as sharp as Orin, I wager. The Slayer against the Undying One. That'd be fun to see.
His crypt breath sings to my sinews. Again, 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 again. But he must lead the murder march to Baldur's grave.
If the weapon is truly in your grasp, Ketherick, might I suggest closing your fist? Orin and I can wait for you no longer. The plan proceeds. We're going to the city, and we expect you to follow. Army and the weapon in tow.
The Edict of Bane!
The last of Thor!
One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence, enslaved by mere mortals.
There we are. It wouldn't do to fight in front of our guests. Behold, Duke Ravengard, the Absolute.
Whom preserve us?
You wag your word flap in vain, olderling. Once the worm holds the whip, your shredded flesh will serve us.
Now, it's really time we were going. We will empty this place and begin the march. You may catch up with the army once you've retrieved the weapon. And Ketherick, do try not to sulk. You're supposed to be the fearsome general come to conquer the city. And I am the hero who will save it.
It is time, faithful ones. March on Baldur's Gate. We go to prepare the way.
predicted. What is it, I wonder, that draws one toward death like a moth to light? You could have run away, absconded with the prism. The one thing that could prevent me from fulfilling my destiny. But the lure of one's destiny is irresistible, isn't it? Perhaps you hope to learn your place in history before you are erased from it. A bright flash of clarity before the snuffing out. The very fact of your being attests to its power. Despite your infection, you resisted the brain here in the heart of its domain. What good is an army of thralls if they do not obey their master? Let us speak plainly. My Lord Merkel gave me the one thing I desired, the one thing no other god could grant me. My daughter's life returned. Her heart beating once more. For that, he asked that I serve as his chosen. Join Orin and Gortash to grow the cult of the Absolute, and then take control of it. He's never had a more devoted follower. I have fought great wars before, in the service of other gods and other powers. But for Merkel, I would condemn all of Faerun to death. You are all that stands between me and my destiny. And you have brought the prism here. I will kill you now. And then I will raise you as my servant. Would that even be possible? Perhaps. No. There is no repentance. No release. My debt can never be repaid. He is here. He is watching. He is listening. He is. You dare end one who belongs to me. I am the smile of the world-cleansed sky. I am the regrets of those who remain. And the restlessness of those who are gone. I am the haunt of Northerners, the god of graves and age, of dust and dust. I am Merkel, lord of bones. And you have slain my chosen. But it is no matter, for I am dead. And I am not the end. I am the beginning.
Well, fuck.
Impossible. Death cannot take me. I am its master. My lord, hear me. Nothing. I am forsaken. You have no idea what you've done. Isabel.
Our way toward our fates. Unleashed! You have my sword. My fealty. Do what you must. Then we fly this foul place.
The Chosen of Merkel is dead. Permanently this time.
In death, the body is cooling, but energy radiates from the stone.
Remarkable. Truly. And now the picture comes together. The Absolute is neither god nor man. It is the Elder Brain you saw, held here by those three against its will. The crown it wears controls it, and these stones control the crown. It has been dominated. To master an Elder Brain, to subdue it. Our enemies are formidable. A temporary reprieve, but a welcome one. With a brain on its way to the city, its influence here is weakened. The crown's markings suggest it was forged in Netheril, an ancient empire whose mastery over magic rivaled that of the gods. It is a crown of domination. The stones were taken from its crest. They are nether stones, imbued with the ability to control the wearer of the crown. The crown's Netherese magic must be the true source of the parasite's abilities. This must be what elevates their potential. And it must be the reason nobody could heal you. If the crown can do this to the parasite, I dare not imagine what it is doing to the brain. One of them I know, Lord Enver Gortash, an arms dealer and a slaver. A worshipper of Bane, the god of tyranny. The other is a mystery to me, but the way she spoke, it is most likely she follows Baal, god of murder. Ketheric was a follower of Merkel, which means the Absolute is a front for the gods of death, and our enemies are the chosen of the dead three. Bane, Baal, and Merkel. The tyrant, the assassin, and the necromancer. They are known to pick from their most devout followers a chosen, granting them incredible powers. Each one alone would be a formidable enemy. But working together and controlling an Elder Brain, I dare not imagine what they might achieve. We prepare for the fight of our lives, and the lives of everyone in Faerun. The army of the Absolute is marching on Baldur's Gate. Within the city, an Elder Brain, brimming with power, ready to turn everyone within its reach into mind flayers. All it needs is an order. An order the Death God's chosen are on the cusp of giving. We must wrest control of the brain from the chosen before that happens. We must take their stones. Our chances of success are slim, but we must not fail. If we fail, everything ends. I will be your shield, but you must be the sword. And when the chance comes to strike, you must take it, for there may only be one chance.
Our enemies spread like rub rot. Treat one patch, and two more bloom in its place. An elder brain, bound by lost Netherese magic, with servants of the Dead Three holding the chain. Reminds me of old times. Aren't you? It is good to savor the moment of victory. But pace yourself. Our fight is just beginning. When we met, I was licking my wounds. An old bear with her leg caught in the hunter's snare. Now I've slipped free of the trap and rediscovered my claws. It's time for me to hunt my prey. You have a nether stone, and you're on the scent of two more. These chosen have reason to fear you, and I would like to be at your side when you confront them. Glad to be there. Falling foul of Ketheric convinced me that my grand adventures were behind me. That even if I survived, I should hang up my blades. But you convinced me otherwise. We ventured into darkness together. Now we've come out the other side. I'd say I'm feeling a little refreshed. When we reach Baldur's Gate, there will be even darker paths to tread. I will follow you wherever they lead. How does it compare to a shadow-cursed inn? With the Absolute's army gone, the Risen Road should be clear. We can follow it all the way to Baldur's Gate. There's a Harper's safe house in Worm's Crossing. Denthalen's Dancing Axe. We do well to check in with them before entering the city proper. Beyond that, our course is yours to set. I can recall how to take orders, as well as give them.
Thaniel rests well. He's healing very rapidly, now that Oliver has returned to him. I knew I could put my faith in you. If only we had met sooner. I can't say for certain, but we'll see it come to pass long before this place recedes behind us. Don't worry. All is at hand. We can depart whenever you're ready.
Helen! Isabel! My love! You are dead. I saw your body. I'm here. And so are you. And my father, he can't hurt us any longer. I dreamt every night that you'd come back to me. That somehow it was all a nightmare Dawn would undo. I had no dreams at all. Nothing but darkness. And when I woke, my father said you were dead. His soul was poisoned by the god of death. His sick devotion ruined him. But for all his sins, he brought you back to me. Are you all right? I will be. And you? In this moment, I want for nothing. There you are. This is Aelin. Aelin, this is...
Oh, but we have met. This is the soldier that freed me most valiantly from the Shadowfell. They watched my boot crush the very brain of villainy, and fought well against your changed father.
May he rest in peace at last, now that he's dead. I have more to thank you for than I knew. And we have much to discuss. Perhaps we could join you in your camp later? I am. And I'm glad he's dead. But this is precisely what I want to speak to you about later. It'll keep. I promise. Very good. We look forward to it.
Now, you will leave us. We must take succor in one another's bodies and words.
Aelin! We'll see you later.
You did it. Ketheric Thorm is no more. The Shadow's grip is broken. Soon, the land shall heal. Not as glad as I am. Nature moves at its own pace, and bestows its bounty when it sees fit. Give it time. A reward shall come to you, when you need it most.
What do you know about me? You spoke of my past, being chased by wolves. I told no one about that. Almost no one. But I certainly didn't share that with you.
There is nothing I can tell you that you do not already know yourself. They trained you well, trained you hard. Chiseled away any part of you that did not fit their plan. They made you forget.
I chose to do that. For the mission to protect Shaz.
Secrets. Yes, yes, that is an old song, girl. Your goddess cares more for her precious secrets than she does her devotees.
Get to the point.
When you freed me, you severed a bond between me and that dog, Thorm. A bond of pain. His, inflicted on me. When I laid eyes on you, I sensed a similar bond. You, tethered to two others. Someplace distant. Let me help you remember.
You feel Shadowheart's mind tug at the edges of your own. You know this sensation. She wants you to see whatever is about to be revealed. Your mind joins with Shadowheart's. Something pulls at you both, bringing you elsewhere. Something sparks in your memory. Teachings about Selûnite rites of passage, about how they would abandon their children out in the wilds and force them to find their way home. It seems that one child never came back. She was taken.
What? Who was that man?
You already know. Did you not see yourself in him? Do you not recognize your own blood?
My father. That was him.
That is him. He lives still. And your mother, too.
No. It can't be. I'm an orphan.
And who told you that? Your adoptive family? You are not to blame. You were young, impressionable. They took you because they wanted to break and remake you. But you are a child no longer. You are a woman. One who knows what must be done.
My parents. I need to save them.
Your parents are with your abductors. You will need to return to their lair. But be warned. You may have once thought of them as comrades, mentors, friends, even lovers. They will all be enemies now. You have been forewarned for what is to come, but not yet forearmed.
The spear. How do you have it? I threw it into the Shadowfell.
Shar is quick to discard whatever she has no use for. I think you know that well enough. But I felt it call to me as I took flight. Whatever Shar calls her own, Selûne has equal claim to. They are one and the same. Their power is matched and mirrored. Take it. You will find it useful. What you do with it, that will be up to you. Same as before.
I'll need every advantage, it seems. Thank you.
A debt repaid. You returned my life unto me. Now go and claim your own.
It hurts.
Shar torments you still. What a spiteful creature she is. This will not stop until you take action. See that your parents' sacrifices are not in vain. Allow the Moon Maiden to guide you at last.
I've been lied to. My whole life. And I was gullible enough to just believe it. My parents are alive, and I have to save them. I think a part of me always knew that. A part that Shar denied to me. Indeed. But the truth may yet prove painful. Who knows what Shar still keeps from me? We'd better press on for now, and hope we're ready when the moment comes. But before that, there's one thing I need to see to. You'll see for yourself soon enough. Just leave it with me. If you're sure. Fine.
So, it's a quest to free Shadowheart's parents, is it? And here I was, worried I'd be the only one with a difficult family reunion waiting in the city. Hello, my dear. Lead on.
At least Shadowheart is armed with the truth now. May its keen edge draw forth whatever vengeance she desires.
Poor Shadowheart. She's been jerked around so much. I want to believe the gods keep this world balanced, but sometimes I wonder. He got his claws into me early. I was a wild kid, brawling my way through the city. One of my mates got wind of a bit of work guarding some indoorsy type with lots of enemies. Seemed like easy money, so I went in for it. He took one look at me and said I was perfect. I like that. Not like that, you know. Just... it felt like a good fit. I kept him safe, and he paid me well. Well enough to move my folks into a better neighborhood and put something away for the future. My future. I respected him, trusted him. And he returned that trust, that respect. His life was in my hands, and I took that seriously. The whole thing with Zauriel happened so fast. I had no idea what had gone down until it was over. One minute I was in Baldur's Gate, a happy, healthy, not quite kid. The next, I was burning up in Avernus with an engine for a heart. Zauriel laughed. Said she paid him well for my services. She'd wanted to test her new machine, and he said I'd be able to handle it. He was right. Sometimes I wish he weren't. Evil, evil bastard.
Taken from the light to be raised in darkness. Your truth is finally dawning, Shadowheart. You can follow its light, or you can retreat back into dusk. The truth is finally dawning. Shadowheart can follow its light, or she can retreat back into dusk.
Don't waste a step.
Shadowheart was no true child of Shah, merely a captive. She must have her vengeance.
I can't believe it. I can't believe Aelin is here. And my father. I heard what happened. What he'd become. By killing him. You set him free. You set Aelin free. And me. A great deal. But still, some of the details elude me. Ketheric Thorm was my father. He raised me to serve Selûne as my mother, rest her soul, had wished. He was everything to me, all my life. When an emissary of Selûne came to our little town, we were elated. Dame Aelin, daughter of the Moon Maiden herself. Tell me, do you believe in love at first sight? You sound like my father. But it was more than that. This was no mere attraction. It was love. Lucky for me, she felt the same way. But my father was skeptical. Aelin is immortal, after all. I understand it's strange. There's an imbalance between us, certainly. But I suppose loving Aelin felt the same as loving myself. It was natural. Then... And this is where I still need answers. I died. I'm not sure how, why, but all was black. Next I knew, I was being jolted awake. I smelled musty air, I saw shadows. And then my father's face. So changed. So hideously warped. I didn't know that then, but I could see the change in him. He told me we'd be together now. Said that Aelin was dead. I couldn't speak. Could only run. I found last light within the shadows. Made a shelter there. Prayed my father wouldn't find me. By the time Jaheira came, I'd pieced together just enough to know I'd been dead 100 years. That my father was the source of the horrors plaguing this land. My home. I couldn't tell her who I was. I had to protect them. And myself. No matter what. It's all out in the open now. And with my father dead, I have nothing to fear. Except for Aelin. She needs healing. Rest. I'm grateful for your help. Your friendship. I hope we won't intrude on your hospitality too long. But I'm grateful for a safe place to... well... just to be.
There you are. I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation. Come closer. Feel my voice rattle your bones as I proclaim our victory. Moon Maiden Selûne, hear me. Ketheric Thorm, traitor, apostle of Merkel, is dead at last. My mate, Most High. Darling Isabel is safe and well. Safe and well, and return to my embrace. Blessings upon the slayer of the Wicked One. We are a powerful party indeed. Faerun itself trembles at our touch. My darling Isabel says we will stay allied at your side. I am pleased to hear it. Pray, ask, and I will tell. Do I not radiate with my mother's brightness, her glory? There can be no doubt. I am of her silvered flesh, her celestial womb. Why, she already has. She has brought her sword to your side, Dame Aelin. So mighty are her wonders, her great wisdom. Together, we will set this fair land free of tyranny and murder. Ketheric Thorn, father of my one and only love, enslaver of Dame Aelin. Ketheric Thorn never did trust me, even when he worshipped the Moon Maiden. He was threatened by my love for Isabel, by her love for me. When she died, curse the day, the hour, we each of us mourned bitterly. But Ketheric's pain could be touched by no aid, no boundary. He turned to wretched Shah, the Lady of Loss, for relief. And she whispered into his ear, poisoning his mind. He and his loathsome advisor, Balthazar, lured me into the Shadowfell, claimed they'd found someone in need of my aid. There, they trapped me in their infernal cage. I was killed, murdered, made dead over and over and over by justiciars of every make and kind. I was reborn, for it is my nature. And Ketheric fed upon my immortality all the while. But lo, the brute is dead, and we live! Begone, friend. I have a darling to adore. Our thoughts are as one, my friend. You must face the chosen of Bane and Baal. I will do my part to see them laid low. I am free from my bonds, but not my duty. The dead 3 are risen. The dead 2 remain. You must face them. I will help. Pray, ask, and I will tell.
The curse has been lifted. The land's cleansed of the shadows. Ketheric's reign of living death is over. Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.
Sergeant, if you are here, I presume Wern's Rock is secure, and preparations for my inauguration are complete.
No, Lord Gortash. We were interrupted. Another quake in the lower city. More severe this time.
So you came cowering to my chambers? I'm flattered, Sergeant. But even I cannot command natural phenomena to cease.
Forgive me, my lord, but there is panic in the streets. The people are afraid.
Perhaps the people would be calm if you kept your nerve. I expect better from the Flaming Fist than to run scared from a slight tremor in the earth. Get back to your duties.
Duties, duties, duties.
Patrolling and saluting and following and bowing and scraping. Yes, sir. No, sir. Rip and cut your throat, sir.
Your plan is falling apart, lordling. Give me a reason not to cut you to ribbons.
Control yourself, Orin. We need to focus on reuniting the stones or the brain will break free. These quakes are just the start. Neither of us expected the Prism Bearers to kill Ketheric. They'll be traveling to the city. Let's make sure we give them a Baldurian welcome.
I itch to peel you, to split your skin, to see your skull shine in the light. Little tyrant. Lucky for you, I harvested a whole family of living flesh in Rivington at high sun. They will sate my blade thirst tonight. Oh, but tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, my blades will thirst again.
Gods, I could sleep for 100 years. Looks safe enough for a night, I reckon.
Beyond the campsite, the city waits in uneasy silence, one sleep away.
Shadowheart has found a little bit of herself again. Selûne cannot take all of the credit. She may have lit the way, but it is the cleric who took the step. That speaks well of your taste. I've heard my share of bad ballads about things I never did. If you have questions, ask. Just don't expect my answers to rhyme. It was Baal alone we faced in our time. And bad as that was, he had no elder brain for a lapdog then. Help won't come from the history books, or from any old tales I can spin you. This is your story to write. There. Have I fulfilled my role as your wise and wizened elder? What need, when it seems so intent on repeating itself? But stay this apocalypse, and I'll let you read my journals. Promise. Ask it. More than I would like. In my youth, I was a brief and very much unwilling member of a colony's hive mind. I felt the way they think, saw the world as they do. Foul, unnatural creatures who find the foulness in us and twist it to their will. But then, who am I speaking to? You have far more experience than I. Do not be moved to pity. It is a predator pinned in a trap. And if it wriggles free, you'll find it still has teeth.
I was supposed to sacrifice myself to stop the Absolute. Yeah, I don't think I could have gone through with it, in truth. And I'm glad that I didn't, given what has come to light. The Elder Brain. more importantly, the crown that it wore. Even without seeing it for myself, I could sense it. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete. And I doubted what I was feeling at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power, the ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep, Sorcerer's Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. Ha! Sorcerer's Sundries is no mere trading post. It's been serving the arcane community for centuries. Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
The events of the last days weigh heavily upon you. Sleep's rest is slow to come to one whose mind is so full. The Absolute is not a god, but an elder brain controlled by the chosen of the Dead Three. They mean to use it to take control of the Sword Coast. All who carry the tadpole are governed by the brain, and by extension the chosen. It will take but one order to transform them into an army of mind flayers. This would have been your fate too, were it not for the astral prison and the mysterious visitor inside of it. With her help, you have uncovered the cult for what it really is. A plan of conquest orchestrated by the gods of death themselves. Together, you have the power to thwart the Dead Three. If you follow this path to its end, the Elder Brain will not answer to the Chosen. It will answer to you. Will you liberate them from their parasites and their religious delusions? Or will you use the power you gain for your own purposes? You will not have long to wait. All you need to do now is sleep. But sleep is not for you.
The reckoning is upon us! The city thirsts for domination. March! Join power.
That thing's about to blow.
Danger.
Oh, shit. A mind flayer.
The Githyanki is the source of our protection against the Absolute. I must subdue him, or everything we've worked towards is lost. Don't let my form deceive you. I am the one that's been protecting you. I am the one that came to you in your dreams. Help me. The Honor Guard. Eliminate them. My forces are weakened by their assault, but with your help, we can turn this around. Destroy the Guard. I will subdue their master. Together, we can turn the tide. Thank you. That was too close. Don't look at me like that. I am a mind flayer. Yes. Without me, you would be a slave to the Absolute.
By the living gods! No more visions, no more lies. I expect answers. Now!
You may call me the Emperor. An adventurer. I came from Baldur's Gate, though I was never one to be constrained by circumstance. I longed for more. That longing brought me to Moonrise Towers on a search for treasure. To a colony of mind flayers who caught me, changed me into what I am now. For years, I served the Elder Brain. The one you know as the Absolute. I was a thrall like any other, but I was fortunate. I broke free and started a new life in my old city. I sustained myself on criminals. Unglamorous, but there are plenty of them, rarely missed. And they fueled me while I did my work. I had the good fortune to meet Duke Stelmane. We formed a partnership, and through her, I became the governing force behind the Knights of the Shield, the largest mercantile operation in Baldur's Gate. People referred to me as the Emperor. Such was my influence, though of course they had no idea what I really was. My needs were sated. I was happy for a while, until my true nature was discovered by the tyrant himself, Lord Gortash. He tore me from my home and brought me back to the Brain, where I became a slave once again. A slave he continued to call me Emperor. The name was intended as a slight, to remind me of the heights from which I fell. But I have grown fond of it. It encapsulates well who I've become. Indeed, his hubris knows no bounds. To enslave me, that was his nature. But to enslave an Elder Brain, a questionable decision. I shall look forward to sharing his downfall with you. Rather them than potential future allies, like you. We fought to tame Prince Orpheus, the son of Gith herself. His power has been the source of your continued protection against the voice of the Absolute. The power to disrupt hive mind communication. It is the same power that enabled Orpheus's mother to bring about the fall of the Illithid Empire eons ago. A power she passed on to him, and that I leveraged Orpheus's mother left, a usurper took her place. Blackith declared herself queen of the Githyanki. Blackith wanted his power, but Orpheus rose against her, and so she sealed him and his honor guard within this prison. Bound by infernal chains, Orpheus could never leave. Bound by duty, his guard never would. They were close to breaking my hold on that prince. And if they had succeeded, we would be lost. I am relieved. You have embraced your potential enough that you could help me eliminate them. Alone, Orpheus will be much easier to control. Most certainly Orpheus. He is a threat to her reign. Some Githyanki still revere him in defiance of their teachings. Blackith was safe as long as they believed him to be dead. But as you can see, he is very much alive. She kept him this way because she was reluctant to eradicate such power. Power that she might one day wish to take from him. If the Githyanki ever find out what she has done, there will be civil war. Blackith will be finished. No. Gortash sent me on a mission to retrieve the astral prism. I was one of many, but the first to find it. How Gortash or the other chosen learned of its existence, I do not know. The moment I found it, I felt a change. My free will returning. I followed the feeling inside, and found Orpheus. I realized what the prism was for. Containment. While my body was within the prism's bounds, my mind was free. I could resist the Elder Brain, the Chosen. Better yet, I could plan to overthrow them. All I needed to do was subdue Orpheus and find allies in the outer world. You. That would be a terrible idea. The moment he is free, he will attack you. Your only defense would be to kill him, and in so doing, you would doom us both.
Even though he is subdued, you feel Orpheus's revulsion, a pulsing hatred that cannot be contained. The Emperor is telling the truth. To him, you are just another wretched illithid.
You carry a tadpole. As far as Orpheus is concerned, you are already a Lithid, a sworn enemy, just like me. I appreciate that, but this is what I am. My original body was destroyed when I transformed. When I first escaped the Elder Brain, I searched for a new vessel, but the longer I inhabited this one, the more it grew on me. I realized that returning to my former self would only impose limitations. Any advantage I could gain by restoring my original appearance, I already had to hand in the form of magic, and that humanoid shape you've come to know. As an Illithid, I have far surpassed who I ever was before. You, too, should embrace this change. I believe we'll have a better chance of defeating the Elder Brain if you embrace your latent Illithid potential. I've been studying you for a while now. I believe I can trigger the next stage of your tadpole's life cycle, while continuing to preserve your independence. You have seen what I can do. Imagine yourself with the same strength, the same intelligence, the same devastating beauty. If you let me, I can evolve you. You will be able to do things you never thought were possible. There will be physical alterations, of course, but only partial. You will retain most of your current form, and you will soon see that the benefits outweigh any perceived loss.
I'm happy to have more powerful friends, but, well, better you than me.
You continue to to surprise me. Your mind is truly something special. Now, hold out your hand. It wants to evolve, but it cannot do so alone. It must commune with another.
A coldness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
You are exquisite. When your allies see what you can do, I hope you encourage them to try it for themselves. But we mustn't lose focus. We need to resume our journey. You heard the Chosen. The brain has gone to the city, and the army marches to follow. We must not let them reach it. We must find the brain and bring it under our control.
By Baldur's bones, this is a lot to take in. Let's see if I've got this right. 1, we've been carrying a mind flayer around with us this whole time. 2, it's been appearing as someone else in our dreams, cajoling us to embrace our new illithid talents. 3, the mind flayer's been siphoning a Githyanki prisoner's powers to shield us from the Absolute's voice. Did I miss anything? How could I forget? One of Baldur's Gate's most distinguished figures, a mind flayer's ally. Sensational tales, aren't they? Almost unbelievable. With a narrator so unreliable, how do we tell fact from fiction? I can't pretend I have the answer, but I know the Illithid's right about one thing. It holds our fates in its talons. Until the Absolute falls, there's no getting rid of it. Yes, and at a great cost, partial ceremorphosis. I won't begrudge you your choice. As for me, though, I'm not ready. I might never be. Gods, yes. I can feel its energy, its essence filling me to near bursting. Very well. I will avail myself of the astral tadpole's powers.
Life pulses from within. The parasite's thoughts whisper at the edge of your mind. It wants to share itself with you. It wants to be let in.
Go on. Don't be afraid. It only wants to help you evolve.
A coldness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
Perhaps, once the others see what you can do, they will consider trying it for themselves.
What's on your mind? I guess the vanilla-flavored tadpole has given us some enjoyable new tricks.
But going half Mind Flayer... Then again, you can pull it off better than most. You've got to be kidding. You really want me to become a partial illithid? Wasn't a decade in Avernus punishment enough? Oh, I'm that easy to manipulate, am I? Where's that bloody worm? Stick it in my eye before I change my mind.
Life pulses from within. The parasite's thoughts whisper at the edge of your mind. It wants to share itself with you. It wants to be let in.
Go on. Don't be afraid. It only wants to help you evolve.
A coldness, the tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected.
Perhaps.
So, we owe our lack of tentacles to one of the very creatures that kidnapped us. At least my lack of tentacles. I'm not sure what's next for you. Don't look at me like that. I know what you're going to say. The answer is no. No.
Capability, alacrity, quickness. The feeling the world was made for you. Such is the potential of the illithid kind. He sees it, yet he fears it still. As you pick apart his mind, you discover his worst memory. That which brings him the purest terror. Complete solitude after being disobedient. Sealed, buried alive. Voiceless. Will this be forever? A year of horror, then the release. He will never disobey again.
Damn you. All right. I'll do it.
Life, it wants to...
Go on. Don't be...
A cold tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and you feel different.
Perhaps.
So, there's been a mind flayer inside the artifact, or astral prism, the whole time we've had it. Sounds like utter madness, even though I've seen it with my own eyes. The more I learn, the less I understand just why I was sent to retrieve that thing. But it matters little now. I do not serve Shah anymore, nor the Mother Superior. The prism is no longer my mission. Saving my parents is. But I digress. Did you want something? I haven't even dared to use the more benign forms of illithid powers. Do you really think I'm eager to jump to the next step? Do you know what this entails? Well, of course you do. But I don't want that for myself. Fine. I truly hope you're right about this. Be honest. What do you think of the new look? Well, I'm glad someone does. Perhaps I'll get used to it. I have a lot to get used to right now.
Gods, Shadowheart looks like a stack of gold. Never thought I could get so excited about someone's forehead, but here we are. Yeah, I had the same thought. So much has happened between then and now. Maybe we just got a little caught up in it all. But I'm not going anywhere. I've got plans for the future, you know, and they involve you.
Oh, we have a new look for a new Shadowheart. Nice as it is, she still doesn't have the best hair in the camp.
When I first met you, saving yourself from Ceramorphosis was your greatest wish. And yet now, you've stepped closer to embracing it. I trust your leadership and respect your decisions, but I truly hope this is not something we come to regret. Only by reputation. She was present when we marched against Ketheric Thorm, but on the far end of the battle lines from where I fought. And in the chaos that ensued, well, our forces were scattered. I led some to safety, but never learned of her fate. I'm glad to hear she survived. Though in truth, I should not be surprised. She was always said to be formidable and cunning. I could have learned much from her, no doubt. There is much to admire, judging by the stories. I cannot help but wonder how she would have handled some of the challenges I faced as Archdruid. Defended the Grove, Korga, the Shadow Druids. At least now we can benefit from her presence, and perhaps work to a common goal. What would you like to know? I am? Trust me, it's been said. You show more restraint than most in avoiding the subject until now. Who's to say? Perhaps there's a half-orc buried somewhere in my ancestry. Or perhaps not. Sometimes I think conventional wisdom is too narrow about what someone can or cannot be. Stranger things have most certainly happened. I had a friend when I was young, long ago. He played with me in the forests where I grew up. But eventually, I realized no one else had heard of him. It was Thaniel, of course. Nature was my very first friend. I get older, but he hasn't changed a day. I knew then that I had to be more than a companion to him. I had to be a protector. You're not a doppelganger, are you? Trying to study me to learn all my secrets so you can take my place? Save for me, my line perished a long time ago. They rest in High Forest now, near the shade of the grandfather tree. The Grove became my family, with Sylvanas as my teacher. And now I have you. It was a long time ago. The wounds don't heal, but they become more bearable. I'm 350 years old. Of course there have been lovers. Just because I love nature doesn't mean I'm betrothed to it. Though sometimes nature needs reminding. Right now, I bed down alone, I'm afraid. Perhaps once I talk less of curses and parasites, my fortunes will improve. Well, I didn't pick this scar up in battle. I was in wild shape, only I forgot it was the season when bears are particularly social. A she-bear claimed me as her own and did not appreciate being spurned. I suppose you wouldn't be shocked to learn I love animals and nature? I know. Well-trodden territory. Well then, let's see. I whittle in my spare time, and I've something of a sweet tooth. Although everyone's very amused when I say I like honey. Ornaments, utensils, and ducks. I like ducks. I like what I like. Once you get to my age, you realize there's little point in denying yourself, so long as others aren't affected. Thank me by returning the favor, why don't you? Come on. I'm sure you've something better than carving wooden ducks. Well, they are fierce creatures from what I understand. But as long as you avoid the high seas, I think you can consider yourself safe.
Your parasite communes with Lae'zel's. Her heart races as she learns of the events inside the astral prism.
Orpheus, Gith's only son. He lives. It is not the Geich visitor that Vlaakith would destroy and Voss would set free. It is Orpheus, the blood of the mother, the prince of the comet. Listen close. The Emperor spoke only in half-truths. For you to know the tale of Orpheus, you must know the tale of Gith and of Vlaakith. Long ago, when we rose up against our Geich slavers, Mother Gith made for the Hells to secure an alliance with the archdevil Tiamat. Tiamat gifted the Githyanki our red dragons. Gith remained in the Hells, and Tiamat's envoy proclaimed Vlaakith our ruler. The first Vlaakith of many. It is Vlaakith 157 whom my people now call Queen. Yes. Our current queen has claimed undeath and reigned for 1,000 years. But it was the first whom Orpheus tried to slay. Orpheus is Gith's only son. He led his mother's own honor guard in a coup against Vlaakith I. It was Kithrak Voss himself who slayed the prince in vicious battle. Or so the Varshas teach us. Yet the Prince of the Comet's been with us, subdued by that repugnant Illithid. Should Orpheus go free, he would tear Vlaakith's empire to pieces and build new glory from the scraps. We meet Voss in the city, and we obtain the key to freeing Orpheus from his prison. Every word Voss spoke, he spoke true. Orpheus is the living proof of the Queen's lies, and the living weapon that conquered our Geich slavers. One word from his lips, and the people would doubt. 2 words, and they would rage. 3 words, and they would bow to the true heir. If the Githyanki are to be free, the Prince of the Comet must lead the way. What about him? The historical slates describe Orpheus as a fearsome, terrible creature, powerful beyond measure, and enthralled by the Geich. So mad with power, he'd smash through the Githyanki Empire and deliver the shards to his Illithid masters. and glowing with such psionic force that he and his red dragon blazed a trail through the skies. A lethal comet careening towards my people. Lies, of course. Vlaakith spread a false image of Orpheus as monstrous betrayer, and her knights as the butchers who sliced him through. She was right to fear him, I'll grant her that. So great is the comet, it could shatter her reign. The Emperor may be loathsome, but it's right. Orpheus can disrupt a gay hive mind. A talent like that makes the Prince a powerful shield and a powerful weapon. Why destroy a weapon like that when you can contain it in a relic and keep it for yourself? A weapon is only an asset for as long as it isn't pointed at you. The means of Vlaakith's own end has been ripped away from her. Better to have Orpheus killed than to risk his escape. Better to risk the rise of Illithids than let the Prince of the Comet deny her the godhood she craves. Orpheus is honor guard, loyal to the end. Trapped by Vlaakith in the same prism holding their noble prince, fruitlessly hacking at the sphere that contains him. They see us as geich, tadpoled husks in the Emperor's thrall. I regret their deaths, but I pledge to live as they perished, in the service of Gith's son. Very well. It is done. Something is different about Shadowheart. New facial creases, perhaps. A fresh battle scar I hadn't noticed. Bah, it eludes me. It also promises to break us beyond repair. This ossified parasite does not make us more, but less. Do you not feel the cold where once there was heat? The void where your soul once resided? The Elder Brain. It could be the harbinger of the Grand Design and the doom of the Githyanki. The end time of the 16 planes will be upon us, and the Astral would be the first to fall. Very well. I will accept what this damnable Geichrok has to offer. Yisk Githkar Tafki Crashet.
Life pulses from within. It wants to...
Go on. Don't be afraid.
A coldness. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind...
Perhaps.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I can only imagine what I could do were I to adopt the biology of a mind flayer. It certainly doesn't seem to have done you any harm. Or rather, you've not yet done me any harm. Still, there are undoubtedly risks to such a transformation. If this is what the fates have offered to aid our cause, then who am I to refuse? I'll take your tadpole. Let's see what it has to offer.
Life pulses from within. The parasite's thoughts whisper at the edge of your mind. It wants to share itself with you. It wants to be let in.
Go on. Don't be
a colder tadpole's essence. You feel different.
Baldur's Gate is right over the hills. And so is Cazador. Cazador and his rite of profane ascension. An imperial soiree, attended by devils and spawn alike. A grand ceremony to honor one exalted vampiric master. And elevate him to an unfathomable station. To place him in a position of such esteem. The world will yearn to kneel and offer their necks. We will kill him, but there's more to it. Think about it. It sounds like Cazador, for all his evils, has gotten further than any of my kind ever have. He's on the verge of a miracle. This may be a beginning, not an end. I can see myself now. Lord, King, Master. If the time comes and I can stay one move ahead of him, I'll take his place before his blood can hit the floor. Let's find out more about the ritual before we waltz into Cazador's front door. If we track down my old comrades, the other spawn, we may discover more and be finally positioned for yours truly to ascend. My, you sweetheart. Then there isn't a moment to waste. If we don't find my brethren, they'll find us, likely with bared fangs. We should get to them first. Then we can make their pretty tongues talk. Unless Cazador has changed their orders, they'll be in the dens of this town, seeking prey.
Soldier, this is it. We're almost to the city. First through Worm's Crossing, then on to the lower city. Oh, it smells the exact same. 10 years on, but still home. Incredible.
Watching gods. But I never thought I would be happy to see the city again. Much less to smell it. The Harper safe house I spoke of is on the bridge at Worm's Crossing. Danthelon's dancing axe. You think me lonely? In truth, I prefer travel in a small pack such as this. Unburdened by numbers, we're free to act rather than react. A little like the old days. With allies every bit as peculiar. Give or take a few tadpoles. Haha! A kind way of saying, ye gods, I hope our dusty bones don't break at the first blow. Fear not for me. I will try my very best to keep up.
Worm's Crossing. We could be inside the city walls before long. And I could be back where this all started. I hope so. So long as I'm willing to stroll right into the Mother Superior's trap, they have no reason to not tell me where to go. Not quite. Above all else, protecting our base of operations in Baldur's Gate was the reason I had to surrender my memories to begin with. Or at least, that's what I was led to believe. We should look for someone to point me in the right direction. Otherwise, we'll have little recourse but to wander the whole city searching. If by warm you perhaps mean a flaming arrow, I doubt they'll attack in public. No, I expect they'll point me in the right direction so I can face my reckoning away from prying eyes. Worm's Crossing is a choke point. If I wanted to intercept a new arrival, I'd find somewhere before the bridge, blend in amongst the crowds, and wait. Most people seeking entry to the city will be refugees. I'd look wherever they're gathering.
I just lost a wager, thanks to you.
Who are you?
Someone who bets that you'd never be foolish enough to actually show your face in this city again. But here you are. And the gold in my purse is soon to take flight. There have been whispers about you, sister. About your faith, your loyalty, your company. I can't help but feel the strangest twinge of disgust as I look upon you. Is it true? Has Our Lady forsaken you?
I know the truth. I know my parents still live. Tell me where they are, and I have no quarrel with you.
I'm afraid the quarrel is unavoidable, thanks to you. Now I must report your reappearance. If you are intent on bringing matters to a head, then seek out the House of Grief in the lower city. Though, if I was you, I'd be very tempted to just forget it all and disappear. You have some form of doing so, after all.
Welcome, adventurer. I take it you're new to Rivington. No doubt you came here to choose from my fine selection of weapons. Yes, I seem to have it all. Clubs, swords, maces, bows, cutting and gutting galore. Why don't we see if we can find the perfect weapon for you? I provide a personalized service for my customers to make sure the weapon I choose is the perfect fit. Tell me, how do you like to kill? Come, we're all friends here. No need to pretend you don't like to twist the knife. And when you kill someone, what do you feel? Killing holds no fear for you, does it? You understand what it takes and what it gives. One more question, if you'll humor me. Do you think you could turn your weapon on those closest to you? There's a killer inside you, isn't there? It wouldn't take much to push you over the edge.
So, you're the lick-spittle who crushed the Bone Lord's throne. Have you come begging, sniffing for our stones? Gortash won't like that. A throat his black hand can't choke the spit from. Oh, you could kill him. Let him close and make him feel the tickle of your blade between his ribs. When you find the Lordling, tell him Orin is watching.
So, Orin is a shapeshifter. How long has she been watching?
Ah, yeah. You! Try attacking me when my back isn't turned, you bloody coward. Is that so? You've got some evil twin running round whacking people round the back of the head. I'll tell you now, you'll be seeing bloody double when I'm done with you. Well, I'm sure it were you. I'm almost certain. Ah, God's be damned, I don't know. I'd have sworn, but my head's pounding. I don't remember. I need a bloody drink. Go on, clear off. I've seen enough of your face today.
Queen Vlaakith. Skra!
You are Hasharlok, and still you speak my name.
I've seen the captive Orpheus with my own eyes. Spoken to Gestil Kithrak Voss. You lied to us. Enslaved us.
The betrayer Voss lies! I have only a moment, and you, Hasharlok, will listen. We are Githyanki. We move mountains. We snuff out stars. We shake the plains. The traitor Voss has lied to you. The heretic prince would shatter us in an instant. The great dominion shrunk to the head of a pin.
Can this be true? Is the Githyanki prince really a threat to his own people? Or simply a challenge to Vlaakith's rule?
Return to the astral prism. Slay Orpheus the Pretender. Serve me, and I will ascend you. You will be no mere warrior, nor Kithrak. You will be Barta Vlaakith, commander of dragons. My only, my chosen. A final chance. Kneel before me. Make your promise.
Lae'zel's thoughts become yours. The sight of Orpheus looms over her mind. Voss's words echo within it. She means to forever turn her back on Vlaakith.
I gave you my faith, and you called me traitor. I gave you my life, and you ordered your knights to hunt me. I have witnessed too much, and you have given me too little. Finally, I can see. Orpheus will live, and I will hear his creed. This is my word.
Your word is nothing! You are nothing! The Kithraki will bring you. I will tear your flesh from your bones and devour your skull's marrow, while you beg for death. I will consume you. I will unmake you.
Damn. It can't have been easy for Lae'zel to stand up to Vlaakith like that. But there's nothing that woman can't do.
We just played host to an undying queen. Oh, and that's without our fine silverware. Lae'zel has courage, turning her back on a lifetime's belief. As for us, best we stay out of interplanar politics, I think. Orpheus is on his own. But should great Vlaakith come to settle a score with Lae'zel, well, I might be convinced to kill her. Undying or not, she was very loud.
So, Lae'zel's finally seen the light and turned on her mistress. It took a little time, but she got there. Though it's not over yet. Masters rarely let their slaves go without a fight. I won't lie. The thought hardly fills me with glee. Even with my newfound advantages, he's still an incredibly powerful vampire. But he's arrogant, too. If he does hear I'm back, he'll try to take me and expose himself in the process. Then I'll be able to strike. Neither will I, darling. At least I hope you'll come along for the show. But regardless, the plan is simple. Find him, stop him from gaining almighty power, and then really enjoy killing him. And if I can seize that almighty power for myself, well, all the better.
Vlaakith's a fearsome one. The sort it's hard to say no to. But Lae'zel said it anyway, to her immense credit. She's choosing truth. She's choosing freedom. For her, for Orpheus, for the Githyanki people. I wish I knew a good Githyanki cheer to celebrate the occasion, but the only gift phrases I've picked up are the sweary sort. Baldur's Gate is where I first raised a glass in toast at the tender age of 14 and got so tipsy from wine, I puked in Dillard Portier's bushes. It's where the flaming fist chased me after I'd stolen a peach from a cart in the Wide. I got a good chewing out over it too. It's where my father taught me to hold a rapier, to read books of lore, to know right from wrong. It's been 7 years since I left. It's no paradise, but it's home. And it's worth saving. And you? The city's yours too, after all. How's it feel to be back? Wonderful, isn't it? Torril's history is written within our city's walls. Expeditions to the continent of Mastika gather in the harbor. The Church of Gon displays its most priceless treasures in the High House of Wonders. Voices raised in song on returning day. The heady whines at the elf song. There's truly no place like Baldur's Gate.
Keeping very well, I hope? Look after my angel, of course. She's been through more than I can bear to think about. 100 years in the Shadowfell. 100 years being murdered by Sharans over and over. It fills me with a rage I can hardly contain. She's a formidable woman, my Aelin. But no one could escape such horrors unscathed. She's in my hands now, and I intend to help her through whatever's to come. We'll both of us stand by you when the time comes to put down the horror that threatens this city. We are your allies, for life. I mourn the man I knew. He was wonderful. He raised me to serve Selûne as my mother, rest her soul, had wished. He was everything to me, all my life. When an emissary of Selûne came to our little town, we were elated. Dame Aelin, daughter of the Moon Maiden herself. This was different. It was like I could see my fate in her eyes. Lucky for me, she felt the same way. But my father was skeptical. Aelin is immortal, after all. I understand it's strange. There's an imbalance between us, certainly. But I suppose loving Aelin felt the same as loving myself. It was natural. Then... and this is where I still need answers. I died. I'm not sure how, or why, but all was black. Next I knew, I was being jolted awake. I smelled musty air, I saw shadows. And then my father's face. So changed. So hideously warped. He told me we'd be together now. Said Aelin was dead. I found last light within the shadows. By the time Jaheira came, I'd pieced... He's gone now. But I suppose the man I knew died when I died.
So, it seems that Vlaakith is Lae'zel's queen no longer. That took no small amount of backbone. I have. He speaks to me during my nightly meditations. He is well, and Oliver also. At times they are one, and at others they divide. Easier for playing, perhaps. And the land thrives also. I doubt you would recognize it. Perhaps one day, you and I can both return and see it for ourselves.
Glad to see I'm not the only one on the wrong side of an omnipotent authority figure. Lae'zel did well to break free of Vlaakith's manipulations, though I doubt Vlaakith will let such insubordination go unpunished.
One day I'll catch a break.
It is done. There is no going back. As long as the Undying Queen reigns, I am never to soar unbound over the astral sea, never to cross the one in the void. As it should be. Better a short life built on truth than immortality woven of lies. Better to unite the Githyanki under a prince who would free their minds and honor their bodies. So why do I feel so bitter?
Vlaakith has upended Lae'zel's whole existence. Everything she knew to be true, every plan and aspiration she ever held has been painfully ripped away. Lae'zel's bitterness is born of sadness. She is mourning the loss of the person she once was, and can never be again.
How well you've come to know me. But in truth, she didn't take everything. I have what I have gathered for myself. I'm more to a new regent, a new land, and new allies. Vlaakith cannot unmake she who no longer exists. And so, from the old battle cries is birthed another. Shema Salar Orpheus, Ma Stilna Forgin in Yeri. Orpheus's will above all. May the comet blaze my path forward. Orpheus's freedom is my want and my need. To deny his freedom would be to deny my own. There will come a time when I can think about myself beyond the Lich Queen who enslaves the Githyanki and the prince who would liberate them. But that time won't come until the Prince of the Comet flies again. Vlaakith's left hand and her right. Commander of all dragons, chosen of the Queen Regent. Not since Vlaakith I has a Bart of Vlaakith been anointed. Another empty promise. Only a naive fool would believe otherwise. The kind of fool I was not so long ago. We find Voss at Sheres's caress and retrieve the key to releasing the prince. Orpheus Tough Kinazin.
Rechtei Hathran Rust.
Welcome, friend. You've joined us as we honor our fallen dead. A somber time, and you have brought a somber guest. I did not think you would willingly return, Spawn.
Well, indeed. I was rather hoping I'd never see you people again. honestly.
Frey Valdiskdurovna. Frey Valdiskablast.
I feel we're intruding. We should leave quickly.
Calm yourself. You will not be harmed. Our leader has called off the hunt. She wishes to speak to you.
Im oraknete. Krasinetra. So, the impossible spawn walks among us in the blazing sun. We have been looking for you. The last time your friend came to our camp, he stole our children, our future.
When I was hunting you, I was to bring you back here, interrogate you, discover how to save our children, and then destroy you.
But things have changed. You have changed. Is it true you left your master? That you broke the spell that binds you to him?
Well, I mean, kind of. It's a long story, honestly.
Free. Not while his master still lives. But he has, perhaps, earned a second chance. We have tried to save our children once already, attacking Khazad-dûr's palace at first light. Even then, it was too well defended. But if his own spawn approached, someone he thought he could control, he would throw his doors open and welcome you in. And once inside, you could do what we could not. You could save the children you damned.
You don't know Khazad-dûr like I do. He's merciless. You want me to march into the lion's den and save your children? But I promise you, they're already dead. I spent 200 years bringing him victims. Each and every one was whisked away to be fed on that night.
But you never saw him feed yourself. He could keep prisoners for days before killing them.
I know our plight is grim, but if there is even a chance to save them, we must take it.
If our children are truly gone, then we ask for blood. I know you can understand that, Spawn.
I suppose. Yes. Yes. Revenge, I can do.
Thank you. From me and all my people. If you can do this, we will be in your debt. You have lived a life of violence and sin. You have stolen lives, broken families, and caused immeasurable grief. Doing this will not right those wrongs.
If you're trying to encourage me, you're failing abysmally.
But it will be a start. You may still be redeemed. Please go. Time is short, but we will see you again when it is done.
Ah, there you are. Good. We need to strategize. Wulbrin is planning something. Lots of moving parts. I'm still trying to suss the details myself. Some. But what he has planned is unthinkable. Maybe you can help him see sense. Someone has to. Be,
Good to see you. Wasn't sure you'd make it to the city. Regretting it yet? I spent a lot of time thinking of worst-case scenarios while I was locked in that cell you plucked me out of at Moonrise. I didn't imagine anything as bad as this. The Gondians have handed Enver Gortash the means to bring about the end of liberty in Baldur's Gate. And the citizens have rolled out the red carpet for the new tyrant. Resistance fighters are few and far between. My iron hands, what's left of the Harpers, and you. I hope. As long as our objective is the same, the reason doesn't matter to me. We have a common enemy. But neither of us gets what we want until we deal with our biggest obstacle. The Steel Watch. They're a threat to you, me, and every man, woman, and child in this city. They act all civilized, servants of the people, but they only serve one man. When he becomes Grand Duke, it will only get worse. Laws will change, freedoms will vanish, and soon you'll be accused and sentenced before you've even committed a crime. And the fucking Gondians are to blame for all of it. I heard about that. You had the Harpers all excited, but there aren't many Harpers left. These Steel Watchers, one of them is the equivalent of a red dragon. An army of them. Well, there's never been an army of dragons. By hitting the Gondians hard. They invented the Steel Watchers, and they're building an army of them. They've always been happy to provide their technology to despots in exchange for a stipend and the freedom to work in peace. They would have licked Saravok's boots, given the chance. And now they'll kiss Gortash's ring while this city screams. I had a plan to put a stop to them. But the way things are now, if we stick our heads above ground, the Watchers are on us like flies on shit. Same as it always is. Eliminate the threat. In this case, the foundry where these atrocities are produced. The Gondians are ingenious, but we're more than equal to them. There's nothing they can build that the Iron Hands can't tear down. I've built something unique for just that purpose. A room powder bomb. First of its kind. 50 wizards high on the weave couldn't summon this kind of firepower. Get the bomb inside the Gondian facility, and boom. Problem solved.
Wulbren, please. This is too far. Everyone in the foundry would be killed.
Quiet, Barkus. The adults are talking. The Gondians picked their side the minute they took orders from Gortash. If they had any courage, they'd have refused him and died like heroes, spitting in his face. Now they'll die like the dogs they are.
That's what I've been saying. There may yet be a peaceful solution.
Fine. You want to try flapping your gums in the belly of the beast? Be my guest. But their idea of diplomacy is a steel fist shoved where the sun don't shine. So take the bomb. Just in case I'm right and you're wrong. As long as you see sense, I don't care when you see it. The foundry is in the lower city, down by the docks. Beautiful building, belching smoke into the sky day and night. Getting inside won't be easy, but when you do, place the bomb at the heart of the facility. Get yourself back to street level. The streets will be clear of Watchers in no time.
A rune powder bomb? Huh. What the devil has he become? The Wulbren I know. The one who skipped rocks with me in the Underdark. He's still in there. I know it. But his hate for the Gondians has blinded him. He believes they work for the Absolute willingly. But it's not true. I'm sure of it. Something is wrong, Very wrong. Please, speak to them before you do anything. They deserve a chance to plead their case before being blown to pieces, don't you think? That's all I ask. Questions first, violence later. And only if absolutely necessary.
Come to finish the job. An idiot. That's who. Started a fight I couldn't bloody win. Ah! By the gods, it hurts. Help me, please. Stop! Stop, please! Just end this! Get this blade out of me. Use it. Kill me. Kill me now. I serve you death on a plate, and still you refuse to eat.
Still rolling in the muck, I see. Gortash knows you are coming, knows you have the Bone Lord's stone. Do not let him hiss hot air into your worm-weakened brain. He will not leave you bloodless for long. He will twitch you by the sinews, a puppet jerking and jabbing at his command. Remember, his throat spits lies, but my blade carves the truth. You will read it on your skin soon enough.
You must hear me, devil. I will do whatever it takes, give you anything you ask.
There is only one thing in this world that I desire. You do not have it, and you never will.
The Kithrak? What deal would he make with this devil?
You must help me, Raphael, for the sake of my people.
Hush now, Voss. These guests may not know it yet, but they want the same thing that you do. And unlike you, they have something of value to offer in return.
Lae'zel, Talak Magir. The devil holds the key to freeing the Gith people. Right here, right now. You could seal our fate. Whatever you discuss with this devil, I must hear of it. Find me below in the tap room, once you're loosed from his claws.
I'm glad you came. Not to my door, not yet, but to the final reckoning. One more thing before we begin, though.
For the first time since the Nautiloid, your mind is clear. It's unsettling.
I gave you back your privacy by shutting that illithid in your pocket out of your mind. It can't hear us. I brought you here because I'm true to my word, and I can make all of this tadpole business go away. Which means you and your lovely friends can remain blessedly free of tentacles. Unless Some have already sprouted in places I can't see. Let us speak plain. I'll admit, you've impressed me. I wasn't sure you'd make it this far. But no matter how far you come, you're still on the road to ruin. A road that leads directly to a confrontation with the Elder Brain. At best, it will kill you and everyone else in this city. At worst, it will assimilate you, and you won't have enough free will left to even wish you were dead. You have the key to destroying it in the palm of your hand, though. Very perceptive. Yes. I can give you the means to break him free.
Speak, devil. We're listening.
The Orphic Hammer. An artifact capable of shattering the chains that hold Prince Orpheus is held securely in my House of Hope, even now. Good and truth rarely go hand in hand, but in this case, they are happy bedfellows, and we can be too. I swear to you, I have the solution to your problem. Isn't it just? And it's even more convenient that you can give me exactly what I want in return. Power. You free Orpheus, and in doing so save the city, the Sword Coast, perhaps the whole world, and your own precious skin too. And you give me the crown that dominates the Elder Brain. And you, Lae'zel of Kalir, want to free the Forgotten Prince, do you not?
I want nothing more.
Then it is settled, is it not? A crown for a hammer. A bargain of a lifetime, Lae'zel of Kalir. Power. Ancient and full of wonder. I have craved it ever since the arch-wizard Karsus created it, long centuries ago, and brought doom to the Empire of Netheril. That was the great age of humanity, and Netheril's flying sky cities were the apex of civilization. I was there the day it all fell apart. Entire cities plummeted from the sky, like angels with broken wings. The screams, oh, the screams. Hundreds of thousands of people watching in horror as the ground came up to meet them. It was not a happy meeting. And Karsus was responsible. Not driven by malice, but by ambition. He forged a crown imbued with all the powers of magic. A crown that would make any who wore it a god. Men cannot contain so much power. The crown destroyed its creator, and his empire fell with him. Karsus's folly, the bards and scholars call it. I call it hope. The hope of creating a better world, and the perils of unchecked hubris. I knew then that the folly of mortals could be the triumph of devils, and that I could use that crown to unite the Nine under one Archdevil Supreme, me. The Hells require order to function. It is what separates us from mortals and demons. With the crown, I would impose perfect order, unity, efficiency, control. My kingdom would control its borders and stay within them. Hidden. The archdevil Mephistopheles snatched up the crown and squirreled it away in one of his vaults. He is not more than a frigid archivist. So much power and potential kept inert. He made a miracle into a museum piece. I raged. But only for a decade or so. Then I waited, ever watching for more than 1,000 years. For a mistake, a mishap, a misadventure. And these chosen, who have caused you so much trouble accidentally, did me a favor. They brought the crown back into play. Yes, it does. Especially when I see what a bloody mess they've made of their whole scheme. They must have raided Mephistopheles' vault. Impressive, I must admit. But they'll be dead soon. If you don't kill them, the Elder Brain will. It doesn't have feelings in the way you'd understand them. But it seems rather angry. It is inevitable. When you destroy the brain, and you will because you must, the crown will be yours for the taking. And when that moment comes, you give the crown to me. In exchange, I give you the hammer now.
A simple transaction, it seems, but it's more than that. He's offering you an alternative to the mind flayer in your head. Take Raphael's deal and you could free Orpheus. With Orpheus free, you would have no need to rely on the Emperor. But there's no guarantee that Orpheus would be on your side. And if you take the deal, you'll have to fulfill it. You'll have to deliver the crown of Carsus to the devil himself. He claims his ambition is to unite the Hells, but can he be trusted to stop there? Do you trust him more than you trust the Emperor?
Skvar! We should do as the devil asks. The Prince of the Comet must rise again.
I won't stop you. But time is running out. So, don't stay away for long. If you see reason, I'll be here, waiting. Right up to the moment the world ends.
The means to loosing the Prince of the Comet was within our grasp, and you refused it. Why? I wanted to follow the open valley, the easy way out. You chose the bramble path. I'm annoyed by it. And I admire you for it. We must speak with Voss. Then we find our way to Raphael's House of Hope. We'll take the Orphic Hammer and use it to smash the True Heir's bonds. Yisk Githkar Tafki Crashet. The Githyanki will be free.
There you are. I thought I'd lost you. Something was blocking me from hearing your thoughts. Raphael. Well, thank you for your honesty. Of course, I should have known the devil would come sniffing. The stench of impending chaos is irresistible to them. And what did he want with you? Giving a devil what he wants sounds like a brilliant idea. And what did he offer you in return for bringing it to him? I am glad you had the sense to turn him down, but it certainly does matter. Anything that threatens our alliance threatens our chances of defeating the Elder Brain. So I ask you again, what were the terms of the deal he offered you? An horrendous deal. Imagine a crown of sufficient power to dominate an Elder Brain atop a devil's head. You would be trading one apocalyptic event for another. Thank you for telling me, and for rejecting him. And now, we must be doubly on our guard. The devil is like a cockroach. No matter what you do to it, it will always come back. I doubt this will be the last time you are approached. I trust that you will continue to remember who is really on your side. Without my protection, you cannot defeat the Elder Brain. You cannot even get close to it, no matter what the devil whispers in your ear.
Voss, friend to the Comet.
Lae'zel of Kalir, warrior of warriors. Tell me you took the devil's deal. Tell me you will free Gith's heir. I did not come this far for you to turn your back on the First Mother's son.
Githkar Tavkim crashed. You put your trust in me, Voss. I plan to honor it.
Yes, and it seems I have no choice but to trust. There is but one prism, and you are its key. Find a way to retrieve the hammer and free Orpheus from the prism. I will assemble his remaining honor guard and plan our next actions. Together, we will yet free the true heir of Gith's blessed empire. He will free us from Vlaakith and lead our Kithraki against the Geich. Istik, I will wait in the underground. Seek me when you have the hammer in hand. The Prince of the Comet aches for Githyanki liberation more than he abhors Geich. He might seethe when you free him. He might gnash his teeth and slander your name. But he will see reason. I promise you. A devil of Raphael's stature does not simply make camp on the shores of the Styx. He will have made a sanctuary for himself, a lavish one too, one that caters to his many vices.
The House of Hope. We must find a way in.
The House of Hope, you say? I couldn't ask for a name more fitting. Every house has an entrance, Istik, even those in the Hells. You must find it.
You are wasting your time, and mine. Our true enemy is the Elder Brain. Focus your mind there.
Voss is waiting beneath the city. We'll apprise him of our progress once we have the Orphic hammer in hand. Voss has done his duty. Now, we will do ours. We must find our way to the House of Hope and take the Orphic hammer. When we next enter the Astral Prism, we will use the hammer to break Orpheus free.
How did you? Oh, it's you. I must have let my mind wander. Enough for you to wander in. Forgive me. I am drained. Ever since you killed Ketheric and took his Netherstone, the Chosen's control of the brain has been brittle. It's rebelling against Orin and Gortash, fiercely. I suspected that when we took Ketheric's stone, the brain would begin to break free. Those brain quakes confirm that my suspicion was correct. I do not know what happens now when it receives their orders, and I do not dare guess.
You feel the Emperor's fear as if it were your own. An elder brain enslaved is one thing. An elder brain unleashed will be the end of everything.
Beautiful, isn't it? The mighty Prince Orpheus, contained in submissive slumber. Come. You may as well sit a while, now that you are here. Your company isn't unwelcome. An accurate summary. I have found myself distracted of late. I'm haunted by memories. They are relentless. I can think of nothing. No one else. Indeed. Duke Stelmane, or as I knew her, Belin, when she was alive. You thought you were my first ally. Far from it. I have long sought the allyship of others. It is the only way to succeed. Though my relationship with Belin was different from my relationship with you. In a way, but not the way you're thinking of. In life, she was my business partner, back when we ran the Knights of the Shield. A difficult task for a mind flayer. Duke Stelmane trusted me, and the city trusted her. I conceived the plot, but Belin took center stage. It was she who met with the merchants, politicians, and patriarchs. It was she who negotiated deals and signed off on agreements. Her rooms played host to the most important conversations in the city. Together, we brought order to chaos. At its height, everything that happened in that city went through the shield. Through us. I could not have done any of it without her. Just as I cannot do any of this without you. But now, she is gone. I appreciate your understanding. What I feel is deeper than superficial cures can reach. And not entirely unwelcome. Most people think that mind flayers are soulless husks who feel nothing. I am glad you are not most people. Another quake. The brain is rebelling again. I need to focus. And so do you.
So Bal's chosen is a doppelganger. I should not be surprised. They have ever been among his favorite servants. Orin is testing you. Either she thinks herself a predator, playing with her food, or she fears what you might do. Good. Exactly. The last time I fought doppelgangers, the Balspawn Sarevok was using them to subvert the city government, aid his rise to power. But Orin, he's more predator than politician, I think. She simply wants to make us feel hunted, isolated. Tell the Lordling that Orin is watching. Seems that Gortash and Orin have had a little falling out. We should leverage that.
Greetings, sir. Your noble bearing brings a little class to my humble...
Oh, you can turn off the charm, Entharl. He's with me.
Blueberries. Thought I had a sale. You look tired, Harper.
I missed you too. They're already here?
Down below. Here's the key. Agreed.
Didn't stop Jaheira's lot from nesting in my cellar.
And Farrell's no Harper, and claims no love for those who are. But he's been known to shelter us when we need it.
Entarl has been known to charge rent. Harpers have been known to ignore him. Now go on. The short father may send me an actual paying customer today.
Hi, Harper. May Seluna's tears shine on this meeting.
A very formal greeting, Geraldus. You are well?
Yes. Hi, Harper. Standing beneath Seluna's tears.
The lad's a little nervous, Jaheira. We heard of your great victory against Ketheric.
Geraldus isn't nervous. He's terrified. And he's using Seluna's tears as some kind of code.
I understand, Geraldus. Take a moment. And you, Harper. There is something familiar about you. Doesn't she remind you of our old friend Marcus?
Jaheira's meaning is clear. Marcus was a traitor laying a trap. The same, it seems, is happening here.
Did I get it right?
Seluna's tears. It is said no false face can stand beneath their light. An old code, Harper. But yes, you got it right. Now I need your report.
We had eyes on suspected cultists in the city, like you asked. We thought we were tracking them, but...
They were tracking you instead, evidently. Doppelgangers.
And they're not just working with the cult. Hi, Harper. They're part of it. Ballists, I think.
Sworn to Orin the Red, yes. We've already had the pleasure. Go on.
Everything seemed fine until your latest orders. Until we started to search for the Rashomar. They struck the same night. I woke to one of them strangling Chelvin, while smiling at me out of her face. She said... It said that I'd report back to you as normal. Lure you here, and... I had no choice!
I'm sure it felt that way, Geraldus. The others were likely dragged back to Orin. Tortured. Sacrificed. I do not expect you to die for me. But to risk Entharl, any citizen who might have wandered in, there is always a choice. And the Harper must be able to make the hard ones. Perhaps this isn't the life for you after all, Geraldus.
No, Jaheira! Hi, Harper! Please! I'm still a Harper. I want to help!
You've scarcely signed up, boy. And there is a war coming. Why die a Harper, when you could still live as anything else?
I want to fight. For Chelvin. For all of them. So it means something.
Death is death. To look for meaning in it is foolishness, boy. Childish storybook nonsense. Exactly the kind the Harper would spout, I suppose. Fine. I have no right to make the choice for you. Not when this mess is of my making. I sent the Harpers hunting after the cult, without thinking what it would mean to be hunted in turn. Now they are compromised. And if not for you, I wouldn't even know it. I'm sorry, Geraldus. Harper. And I owe you an apology as well. I haven't told you everything I hope to learn here today. First, Geraldus, you're the last Harper in the city I can rely on. Lay low and rest while you can. I have matters to discuss with my friend here.
No shopping through.
Orin knows the hunt. In one stroke, she places the Harpers beyond our reach, separates us from our pack. Until we know who the false facers are, we cannot trust anyone beyond ourselves. A shame of mine. Redoubled because I did not tell you everything sooner. Tell me, what do you know of a man named Minsk of Rashomon?
The name is as familiar as Jaheira's own. A hero of the time of troubles, who saved the city more than once.
But few know of his fate, I think. I had hoped to keep it that way. Minsk is an old friend. Perhaps my oldest. We fought at one another's backs, times beyond counting. And the last time I saw him, I left him to die. Before we ever heard of this Absolute, we received word of a gathering in the Undercity. What we found was the first dark seed of this plot. A circle of cultists with mind flayers in their midst. We might have ended it there, cut off at the root, but before I could send for help, Minsk charged in alone. It was chaos. He was overrun, dragged down beneath a mass of tentacles. I had a choice. Stay and let word of this cult die with us, or leave him and live to fight another day. And would again. The world takes much from those who presume to defend it. But sometimes, you get to take it back. Infection, indoctrination, eradication. That has been the fate of everyone the cult has captured so far. But it has not been yours. With your help, perhaps it need not be Minsk's either. As simply as that? For no other reason than that I asked? Perhaps you two will get along. Oh, the point is moot without the means to find him. Without the Harpers, we shall have to find another path. I'll have a better idea of what that is once we're through the gates. Seems I need to reacquaint myself with this damned city. Yes? There might be, but... it's not a path I tread until we must. Let it wait until the city proper. Perhaps I'll have had a better idea by then.
Shapeshifters in the Harpers. My dad always admired their mission. Said they gave up their entire lives so we could live safely and asked for nothing in return. We'll rout them, right? For the city, and for Dad.
The Harpers have been compromised. A balancing power now unbalanced. Jaheira's support has been invaluable. We should return it in kind. Mind flayers are like devils. They just sport tentacles rather than wings. Clever, manipulative, exploitative. The Emperor says he's a friend. I think we'd be fools to believe him. And maybe it's true. Maybe Stelmane allied with a mind flayer and subjected the city to their political will. Or maybe he made an offer she couldn't refuse. I met her twice. The first time, I was a boy of 7 or 8, at a banquet in the Flaming Fist's honor. One look and I was smitten. Chestnut hair that flowed behind her like willow fronds, as she floated from one room to the next as if carried by clouds. The second time, Stelmane was different. Even with the aid of a cane, each step she took was a struggle. Every word she spoke took great physical effort. A stroke victim? I asked Father later. No, he said. A stroke survivor.
You sense uncertainty in Will's voice. He questions his father's explanation.
something's always gnawed at me. At the banquet, Stelmane didn't seem to look at us, but through us. But that second time, her gaze never left me. It was steel, sharp and unyielding. It could just be my imagination, but I always felt that it was more than a stroke that had changed her. What, though? I couldn't say. I couldn't say. But think about this. My father was Tadpole. Stelmane is dead. The people are frightened and the council's in disarray. To exert control, you must first sow chaos. A tyrant's strategy, as father would say. These murders aren't random acts. Someone powerful is guiding the killer's hand, and the city is made weaker.
You might as well lock the cell. You're too late. It's over.
By Avernus. Floric.
The Steel Watch happened. I came seeking allies to our cause. Watchers spotted me, dragged me to Older Ravengard's husk, empty as a stair. Your father's a Tadpole's puppet, Will. Nothing more. He spoke in accusations. Apostasy, conspiracy, sedition. I'll be executed in 5 dawns. You might have unlocked my cell, but there's no escape from this place.
The hell's with that? Nothing is over. Not while I still draw breath.
When the people need a miracle, you cannot wait for the gods to answer.
Father's words.
Indeed. To think I'd almost forgotten. No more sulking. I know what to do. And I can only do it with the help of the blade. Lead me from my cell. Escort me out of Worm's Rock. I'll seek out my connections. When the city streets shatter, you'll want their blades. Well done. Lead the way. The way should be clear. I can't thank you enough for getting me out of that damned prison. And for giving me courage when I'd all but run out.
It's the least we could do. Your faith in this city should inspire us all.
When the flames roared loudest, you pulled me to safety. Most would have let me burn. I won't forget it. I will travel to the upper city. Find what allies I can. You won't fight the coming battle alone. As long as the city stands, I will stand with it. This is my promise.
If it isn't little Will, straight to your handler. And I didn't even have to whistle.
Mizora, I've had enough. You owe your life to me. Time to end the pact.
Feeling cheeky, are we? Most unbecoming. Heard about your father. The Absolute's puppet. A damned travesty, if you ask me. He's upstairs in Worm's Rock, ordaining Gortash as Archduke. A splendid party, I hear. Perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after.
Kinspeople, Baldurians, and dearest Duke Ravengard. Thank you for joining me on this exceptional day.
It's him. Gortash. This is it. I can practically taste his blood from here.
My father's here, Karlach. Cool your fires. He must not come to harm.
I don't want to put you in harm's way either. I'll wait for now.
But that prick is going to pay.
A moment, please, my friends. An old acquaintance has come to pay her respects. Please, Karlach, come and say a proper hello.
My respects? You're lucky I've agreed not to shove my boot up your...
Ah, how I've missed your colourful turns of phrase. We must catch up just as soon as I've had words with your little friend. As for you, I understand congratulations are in order. Thorm's defeat hasn't gone unnoticed. You're known for who you are and for that netherstone that you carry. The quakes are a clear warning. If nobody steps in soon, it'll free itself from the authority of the Crown. I expect it'll start with turning the Sword Coasts infected. You among them. That prism of yours won't last indefinitely. Next, the grand design. The Mind Flayer Empire reborn. If we're lucky, we'll become slaves. If we're unlucky, well, not the most thrilling of prospects, but it's a fate that can be avoided. If you and I come to an understanding, together we can still restore authority over the brain.
Of course. Gortash always did have an eye for opportunity.
There's an old wisdom. A brittle alliance can never be mended. It can only break. With Ketheric gone, Orin proved treacherous. Baal's chosen wants the Netherstones for herself. She only cares for blood. And your blood and mine are of particular interest to her. You've met her assassins. Efficient killers, by all accounts. I know you survived previous encounters, but she won't relent. Orin changes shape faster than you and I change clothes. You know, she's tricked you before. She's targeted me as well. I'm well protected, but she's extremely good at what she does. If Orin obtains all 3 Netherstones, she'll plunge the coast into chaos and paint the city in blood. I can't let that happen. I want to lead this city to glory, not scorch its earth. I'd like to propose a pact, a divine oath sworn upon spirit and flesh. I do no harm to you, nor you to me. Furthermore, you'll have nothing to fear from my steel watch while our pact stands. Thorm's stone is yours to keep. When you slay Orin and take her stone, you bring it here, so the 3 are united once again. Together we rule Faerun as kings. No, more than kings. Gods. We rule as the absolute.
And my father?
Your father will do whatever you command him to, like any other subject in our kingdom. What do you say? Shall we be allies?
I can detect no deceit. This alliance could serve us well. And if it does not, well, we need not honor it.
Let's be allies, said the viper to the frog.
Perhaps a demonstration of why you need my help will motivate you to make the right decision. Your camp is compromised. One among you is an imposter, a faceless. Who, I can't say. I'd suggest a thorough investigation. You'll find I speak the truth.
A shapeshifter? It could be anyone. I mean, it's not me, but it could be anyone else.
The faceless in your camp is like a knife at your throat. Remove it quickly, or any alliance between us would be exceedingly short-lived. Even horror has a home. Find her nest and slay her there. For all its charms, Baldur's Gate has long had a cancer at its heart. A hidden temple devoted to Baal. That's where Orin became what she is. where she worshipped and schemed. And now, it's where she hides from my watchers, when she's not spilling blood in the streets. You're resourceful. I trust you'll sniff it out. If the trail goes cold, follow the bodies. First Orin the Red, bloody dagger of Baal, causes panic in the streets through killings in the Absolute's name. Next, the threat of the Absolute's monstrous armies formed by Merkel's general, Ketheric Thorn. In such circumstances, people crave strong leaders. Leaders that bring law, order, and protection. Leaders like me, Bane's unyielding hand, author of justice. You are soon to witness the people of Baldur's Gate granting me complete power over them, all out of fear of the Absolute. Next, we, will declare curfew and begin infecting the masses. Our subjects will hear the voice of their absolute God. The faithful will do anything in the name of their God. Powerful connections. Let's leave it at that. More importantly, just. Now, come, be witness as I make history as the first Archduke of Baldur's Gate. Then we proceed. The Patriarchs await. Distinguished Dukes, Patriarchs, dearest Ravengard, I will heed your call. A new chapter begins.
Enver Gortash, swearest thou by Balduran's blade to defend the citizens of Baldur's Gate from enemies within and without?
I swear.
Swearest thou true faith and fealty to the same, by word, deed, and decree, so that none may suffer?
I swear.
Gathered guests, grant ye consent? Enver Gortash, the Council appoints you Archduke of Baldur's Gate.
My friends, the Steel Watch stands ready. Let its blade fall on any who would diminish our city. And you, honored guest, will find me in my office above when you return. Do not come empty-handed.
So there you have it. Lord Enver Gortash in all his glory. What did you make of him? Not if I get to him first. How could all these people cheer for him like that? Can't they see what a chancer he is? Hard to explain it any other way. Then again, I guess they just want to feel safe by any means necessary. If only they knew the truth. The Dead Three orchestrated all of this. And it's working. I wish this city, the people running it, were smarter than me. Gortash isn't their salvation. He's the monster at the gate.
Flaming Fist, stand ready. With Gortash at the head. They can't fail.
Ravengard, you would give up the Fist's command?
The Watch and the fist, truest of souls, bathed in her light.
There is a fleeting connection. Your parasite communes with his, then falls quiet.
Father, my dearest boy, the hells have touched you, but you've come to me just as Gortash said you would. A true soul, no less. Father and son, unstoppable generals. You and your allies will usher in a new dawn. What is a hero, if not an actor for the greater good? Faerun suffers in darkness. Tyr has abandoned us. Helm's Eye has strayed. But Baldur's Gate will soon burn bright, a beacon to light the heavens. Gortash and I will ignite the final spark, and that, true soul, is the greatest of goods.
No. This isn't him. This is the tadpole talking.
For a brief moment, uncertainty clouds his mind, then dissipates. The astral prism vibrates in concord.
What nonsense is this?
The prism quivers once more. Ravengard falters.
As I said, Baldur's Gate will ascend. Torill's first and only grand city.
First comes a vision of terror. The city of Baldur's Gate taken by Lithids. But beyond the terror, there is hope. You see a beaming Ravengard presiding over the sunlit city, applauded by the people. A people at peace.
Ravengard, the real Ravengard, is in there somewhere. We can't give up on him.
Have we finished then? Let the people rejoice. In Archduke Gortash's hands, they are safe.
A new age is upon us.
Archduke Gortash.
Incredible. To hear my father's voice speak those words. Like a stranger wrapped in his flesh. But there's still a glimmer of him in there, calling for release. I feel it. I know it. I won't let the Absolute keep him. This is my pledge.
What did I tell you? A momentous occasion. I'm sure you agree.
I've had enough, Mizora. What do you want?
Your attention, little pup. Nothing more. And you'll be glad to give it. You see, Gortash has had your father relocated. To the slaughter, the way I hear it.
Shit.
Your dad's good as dead, pup. And to think, there's no way to save him. Or is there?
You know something.
I know enough. I'll be in your camp if you want to work something out.
Of course she'd stick her infernal nose where it doesn't belong. Of course she's dreamt up some risible scheme. By all the hounds of the hells, what is she planning? Certainly not. But she's as inevitable as Torill's path around the sun. We'll have answers soon enough. Mizora's gone to camp. We should speak with her. Until then, may my father keep safe, whatever coop he's been flown to.
Sisters, be my testament. Notum sit in Beator.
Notum sit in Beator.
Holy hells.
Fina, Cirrus, arbiters for the hells, exemplars of justice.
Enough, Mizora. Where is my father? How do I save him?
How else? We bargain. Sisters.
Infernos contractus te vocamus. Infernos contractus te vocamus. Infernos contractus te vocamus.
Your contract, Will. Signed in blood, forged in fire, bound in bone, but not unbreakable. No contract is ended without sacrifice. A cost must be paid. Will Ravengard, a choice is before you. Option 1. I show you the way to your father. I guarantee him no harm except that from you and your allies. And you pledge your soul to me and the Archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Option 2. I break your pact, and you are freed from your duty. Your father dies by his enemy's hand, and Baldur's Gate loses its greatest champion. Name your sacrifice.
Bloody Zariel. I won't let her take Will.
Silence, Karlak.
Mizora, you asshole!
Choose. Addendum F. The Absolute must be avenged for the Soulbinder's detention at Moonrise. The Soulbearer retains his gifts until such time as the Absolute is slain.
You damned wretch! Father. Do it. Break the pact.
Fiat Ita.
Fiat ita. Anima ad beator.
Didn't think you had it in you. Seems my boy's all grown up. And don't go fussing about your father. You made your choice. You knew the terms. You know what? I think I'll stick around. Not for the greater good, you understand. Just for the entertainment.
I figured it out. Exactly what I want to do with you. I want to go on a date. A first date. No weapons, no monsters, no mysterious voices. Just you and me and dinner.
Please say yes.
Yes! Oh, amazing. Put on your least bloody tunic and meet me back here. Oh, I'm so excited! Give me a beat to run ahead. I want to make sure everything's absolutely perfect. See you there. Hi. Hi. You made it. You look nice. Thank you. Baldurian seafood stew. No, thank you. What do you think you'll have? Just what I had in mind.
Huh?
2 of the Rothe ribs, please. And 2 glasses of... And 2 glasses of wine. So, you're an adventurer, right? How's that going? Bad-ish. Not trying to one-up the local villains, of course, but man, have I seen some shit. But hang on, this isn't first date talk. Tonight, I'm a mystery to you, and you're a mystery to me. It's all I can do to keep my hands to myself, anyway. We're terrible at this. No! Yes! No! We came to have a nice date, and that's what we're going to do. Go on. Date me. I dare you. Good question. And easy enough in my case. I'm afraid of dying with regrets. Of living small and giving up the ghost before I've done what I came here to do. And that means going after the things I love, including you. Your turn. I'm sure. You've probably killed scarier things blind and bleeding. Oh, hey. Here comes our food. Hey, Henk. I think we ordered the...
Bleeder.
worst guy I ever met. Anyway, how about a toast? Oh, shit! May we live every day like it's our last. Because you never know when your last will come. Oh, that was great. The food and the company. You know what I want to do. I know I can't stay forever. Here. With you. In fact, I feel like I don't have long left at all. We've been through so much, and the worst is yet to come. I have every reason to feel terrified, hopeless, like giving up. But to be here, with you, in the city I love, in this world that I love so much, it's all I could really ask for. You hear me? You're all I could ever ask for. I love you. And I know that whatever else this city will throw at us, we can handle it. Come on. There's something I want to show you upstairs. Hope you like it.
I did not know Duke Ravengard that well. But I am sure he would not want his son to become slave to Zariel for his sake. I am sure Will knows that. But we would do well to remind him when his days grow dark. No one truly understands the weight of loss until they've worn it a while. There is no shame in sharing the load when you need to. I have. And while I do not love my conclusion, that does nothing to change it. The Harpers are the city's best information network. With them out of action, we shall have to fall back on second best. Nine Fingers Keen.
A name known and feared throughout the city's underworld. The mysterious Keen runs the guild, which in turn runs every criminal enterprise in the city.
Nor are we. But I trust she knows the value of collaboration, especially in times like these. How hospitable she will be to a Harper that comes begging to her guild hall, we will find out. Perhaps I will let you do the talking.
Keeping very well, I hope?
Will sacrificed his own father. I hope freedom from the Pact is worth it to him.
Gods, I spent 7 years choked by Mazora's leash. And I spent 7 years hoping to break free. I never knew freedom could taste so bittersweet. I have to believe that. I'm not the Hell's puppet in life, nor its warrior in death. The blade will be guiding his own hand, but freedom will be paid in my father's blood. Tomorrow, I celebrate my gain. Today, I mourn my loss.
A moment passes. In the stillness, you find a mote of tranquility.
The Ravengard name now lives solely with me. I will make it count for something. I signed his life away before the Hell's witnesses. It would be easier to drink the sticks down to the last drop than to alter his fate. I'd be a fool to wish otherwise. We obtain the final 2 nether stones and take back our minds, and the city, from the brain.
Little Will's all grown up. I can't wait to see what trouble he gets into. Impossible. My bargain was uncommonly reasonable. A single soul for the return of Baldur's Gate's most beloved Duke. A real bargain, I should think. I never thought the legendary Blade of Frontiers would surrender his father for freedom. Not very valorous, if you ask me. But what does a mean old devil like me know about heroes? Just because he's not my pet doesn't mean he's not useful. The Absolutists worked a number on me at Moonrise. And you're the best hope I've got at payback. No one crosses the Hell's Children without getting scorched. Oh, you are an inquisitive one. I'd have thought you'd figured by now. Zariel found new use for an old battle axe. The dead 3 in that bulging brain of theirs are a threat to more than this trifling city, you know. Savor her company. Who's to say when Zariel might change her mind? My mistress can be so capricious. The 9 hells of Beator. Each its own domain, each with its own archdevil to rule it. I call the first hell my home, Avernus. My mistress Zariel's realm, a torrid battleground split by the bloody waters of the Styx. How I adore it. The delicious agony of it all. The other 8, well, they are pleasures unto themselves. Perhaps I'll show you myself, if I deem you worthy. Correct. I didn't. If you must know, I was scouting the cultists on behalf of Zariel. But those cursed shadows were thick enough to fell even a half-fiend. I woke in that damned pod. It kept my body sealed and my most powerful magic silenced. But a brave, kind, benevolent soul set me free. Gallantry isn't dead, after all. Why? I'm supplying Will with every scrap of his infernal power. I've paid my dues many times over. I tell you what, when the time comes to squish that big baddie of a brain, I'll lend you a hand.
Let's talk. Are you sure? And...
Almost pleasant traveling with company. All right.
Hey, wanna play pretend? You and me. Let's imagine I get to live 50 more years. We have a whole life ahead of us. What do we do? You know what? That was never part of my plan. But in this fantasy, I can picture it. You, me, 2 little us's. That's a pretty picture, isn't it? Damn it. I wish I had a longer road ahead of me. I want to walk it with you. I'm not really tough enough to face any of this, you know? I'm scared shitless. But there's a courage in me I never knew I had. I've always thought I was fearless. Never scared of a fight, of the future. But dying has taught me so much. There's no courage in fearlessness. There's courage in being fucking terrified, but still going forward. Still being grateful. Still trying. We're going to save this city. Together. It's going to be the last thing I do.
Please, wait. I did not want this. I could not stop it. It's this place, this city. I can feel its corruption eating away at me. I should not be here. No one should be here. It has made a monster of me. I can't. Whatever powers I have, they are dwarfed by the evil of this place. Sylvanus has abandoned this place. It's nothing but stone, grime, smoke, pain. The trees choke here. The animals hang from butcher's hooks. Nature is dying in the gutter! There is only one god fit to be bowed to in this place. The last god who will ever be knelt before. Then all of this will tear itself apart. My body is trying to fight the corruption. But it's losing. And my mind will succumb soon after. I will not allow it. I will not surrender control. Even in this place, there are still innocents. After all you've been through together, you just idly stand by as he pours his heart out for you. Tut, tut.
Look at it, crawling and sniffing and rooting around in the filth. Is it my netherstone you seek, little piggy? Hush, hush. Orin will take care of you and your little pet. Nothing. No, not a thing. Still gasping and gagging on the foul airs of Baal's temple. I will not slice. His kind die too easily. The Murder Lord demands a better offering. Something new, sticky, sweet, and delicious. He wants you. Kethric's killer turned the corpse lover to carrion when you took his stone. Oh, but he was a dull kill. No blood to spill, no guts to rip. A desiccated husk, all dust and hollow. You must be sharpened before you set your edge against my skin. You'd prefer my whispers in the tyrant's tongue, hmm?
You've heard Gortash's whispers. I see how your skull swarms with his promises. He whinges and wails over the crown of Carsus, wanting to command it without me. Oh, how I long to slit his poxy smile from ear to ear. But I can't touch him. He bound my blade when we first conspired. Gortash didn't want me at first. Didn't trust me. Got me to wag my tongue, swear an oath never to hang him from the hooks. Drip drain him into father's open jaws. You must kill the tyrant. Take the netherstone from his corpse and bring it to my temple.
There we slice and shred each other. The survivor claims the stones. What's left of the other is Baal's. Agree, and I will bring my assassins to heal. They watch you always, longing to spray the crimson from your veins. Refuse me, and you'll learn what happens to those who defy Baal's doctrine. So will your friend.
Orin demands a fight to the death. The prize for the victor, the Netherstones, and the chance to control the crown alone. Accept, and you must kill Gortash. Refuse, and your companion's life may be forfeit, as might your own. Orin's assassins will hunt you like prey for slaughter.
Allies? No. We had a balance. The chosen three. But it tumbled when you turned the Bone Lord to ash. Now, Gortash tries to gouge me from the city. That festering inadequate thinks me a flesher, butchering and cleaving only to whip the herd towards his tin men's oppression. You must kill him. Gore him like a pig prepped for the spit. Only then will you be sweet and sharp, ready for the Murder Lord's purpose. Need? No, I do not need. You are made of nothing. Meaningless flesh and bone. I do not need. I offer. Baal's age approaches, and you could be there to see it. An idol of flesh, made to welcome his bleeding dawn. There is time for you yet. Time to save. Do not underestimate his steel watch. Seek their cradle in the lower city and skewer their skull meat. Make them rust and blood. Then you can gore the lordling again and again and again. But listen close, Bone Killer. Step in my domain while the tyrant still sucks air, and I will carve your failure into your pretty plaything's skull. Bring me his stone, and I will set the bait free. Only then can you and I make exquisite butchery. The victor will set the world to slaughter. That is Baal's offer. He will not make another.
So, we kill Gortash, or Halsin dies. It is not an easy call. On the one hand, killing Gortash will be fun. On the other, Halsin can be very annoying. We probably should save the druid, though. He does have his uses.
Halsin does not deserve to die on such a craven's altar. We should consider Orin's terms carefully. However,
distasteful we may find them.
The great Orin the Red tugs your sleeve, sulking for attention. She might come to regret it yet. I have met few as strong as Halsin. But Orin will break him, if we give her the time to do it.
Orin thinks Halsin's abduction is an ultimatum to kill Gortash. Foolish woman. As if I needed more reason than I already had.
Damn it all! We've got to get Halsin back. If that means killing Gortash, nothing would give me greater pleasure.
I don't know how exactly Orin managed to spirit away someone as big as Halsin, but we have to get him back. Either via a rescue, or Gortash's death.
I've had my eye on you. Hot as brimstone, jagged as lightning, and seething like the river Styx. But there's something missing, isn't there? You're hungry for pleasures beyond this plane. Something more satisfying than mortal flesh, blood, and bone. I am positively full up on warlocks, and you are already claimed. What I offer is free for your taking. The ecstasy of agony, the pain of the damned, distilled into pure bliss. Beyond every climax you've known. The little death writ large. Smile, and I'll come to you when you put your head down to rest. I will sate your most forbidden lusts. Or don't, and know the eternal ache of the unknown and the unanswered. The same thrills I offer you. Some experiences are better when shared. Dear me, I've overestimated you. Trust me, I shan't be making that mistake again. Ta-ta.
You sleep, but the wicked don't. Someone is here to disturb your rest.
Get the hells away from me!
Peace, brother. We're here to take you home.
The Master needs all 7 of us for the ceremony. Come with us and be reborn. We'll live again.
Master Cazador has known where Astarion was this entire time. He knew he would return. The rite. The Master needs him. He must attend.
Oh, I'm well aware of what the Master needs. But don't we deserve better?
Better? What do you mean, better?
After all these centuries of torment, I know what you all want. More than power. More than to walk in the sun. You want to see him dead. The rite of profane ascension will be mine. And he won't see a scrap of its glory. I am going to complete the ritual as the Ascendant, and then I am going to kill him! This is your chance. Stand with me. Name me your new master. We will get our revenge. And you will all live again.
His liar's smile spells danger. He knows full well that his kin will die in the ritual, but if any of the bearers of the scar die before the ritual begins, He will lose his chance to perform the rite himself. He needs them to run willingly to their deaths, thinking they stand a chance against their master.
He is different. Stronger. Fire in his eyes. Maybe he could take Cazador's place. Maybe he could free us.
Perhaps we can get back at Cazador and finish the ritual. The Seven can unite and... The bonds hold. He owns us. We have no choice. We must obey. Get out of here, Astarion, before...
What a mess. Well, at least you've met my family now. He cannot, thanks to our wriggling friend. He will be furious. And he'll be even more furious when I get to that crypt and stop him. For what it's worth, thank you. No matter what happens down there, you helped me stand up against him.
Dragon's spirit floods your mind and memory in a great torrent of power. He is with you. He is within you. He is you. The next words that spill from your mouth are not yours, but the worm's.
I am Ansur, heart of the gate, butchered in flesh, risen in spirit.
Ansur wends his way through your mind like an unstoppable river. Your body is unmoving, yet thought flows effortlessly between you. The spirit pauses, and you feel the astral prism stir. Ansur senses the Emperor's presence within it.
Answer me, Facey. Why have you come?
A deep sigh resonates within you. The torrent stills, only disturbed by the dragon's next words.
Brack, my words aren't meant for you. They're meant for him.
The Emperor stirs in the astral prism, then in you. Calm, curious, and detached.
Your presence has stirred me, as it ever did. I am awakened.
Answer. It's been too long. We knew each other once, long ago. We crossed the Kalem together and sailed the Al-Tengri. We built a city by the sea. Ansur was my friend.
Friend. Yes. And more. Until you killed me. Have you come to dance on my bones, Balduran? Was slaying me not satisfaction enough?
Satisfaction? No. You left me no choice.
You had every choice. You were becoming illithid. I offered you merciful death. You chose to fight. And now you bring your thrall before me. How far has the great Balduran fallen?
Stillness. Ansur's consciousness hovers just above yours, searching, seeing.
Dear Ansur.
Enough! I gave you everything, Balduran. And you repaid me in slaughter. It is time I return the favor. Let my bones rise and the storms gather. Witness, Balduran. The final tempest has come. I am the heart of the gate. I am the one who roars. This time, you will not escape it.
Ansur. I never thought I'd see him again. I was. Now, I am much, much more. But it seems you are more interested in my past. Such sentimentality. Very well. It's like I always told you. I was just like you. An adventurer who yearned for greatness. And in mortal terms, I achieved it. As captain of the Wandering Eye, I acquired enough gold to found Baldur's Gate. I stayed for a while to watch my city grow. But it was not enough. I grew restless again. The sea called to me, and I ran to her with open arms. Life at sea was not easy. Our last adventure was ruinous. My ship was destroyed. My crew lost. But my spirit was far from broken. I was determined to return in triumph once again. I heard of treasure in Moonrise. I strove to find it. What I found was an illithid colony, where I acquired a tadpole much like yours, and became a mind flayer, enthralled to the Elder Brain. It was Ansur who found me. Ansur who pulled me from the Brain's domination. Ansur who brought me home. He sought to cure me of my sickness, called on every healer he could find, nearly broke his spirit in the attempt. But he failed to understand. I wanted no healing. I was not sick. Even after he had exhausted all possibility of reversing my condition, he still clung to hope. I tried to convince him of my reality. I was on the cusp of greatness beyond my wildest dreams. But all he could see was a mind flayer. He came to me as I slept, a mercy killing in his mind. I saw the tears. I felt his grief. I had no choice but to kill him first. It was an act of self-preservation. Put simply, yes. And being alive even more so. Do not think that I am ignorant of what I have lost. I may not regret my actions, but I do regret that they were necessary. While the past is beyond my influence, the present is not. It is time we move on. 2 nether stones remain in the hands of the Chosen. We must find them before we confront the Brain.